Hey, hey, good morning. It is a rainy day here in Idaho. Just tagging a few friends before we get started. All right. So we have been asked, or I have been asked, Sandy and I have been asked, how to modify a stamp. So there's these cute little girl stamps, and they all have short hair. That's by design. Number one, because at the time I had short hair, and this was drawn to be in my likeness. And number two, because it's really easy to add hair to them. So I'm gonna wait just a couple of minutes before I modify the stamp so that you can really see what's going on. I'll zoom in and all of that kind of stuff. But for the time being, I just wanted to share with you. This is called Color All the Things. And this is meant to be one of our planner stamp sets. Now, you don't have to use it in a planner. These are great size to do like memory decks cards or to add to your planner, of course. But you could also add them to like scrapbook layouts and do tags or anything. I've stamped her on an A2 card front. So she is small, but what we're going to do, we're going to add stuff around her. Good morning, Allison. So we're going to add stuff around her so that you can see that this little image is actually great size to have. So anyways, this is called Color All the Things. It is in stock in the store. This is a stamp set that's probably not going to go away because it is so popular. And we're going to modify this little girl into having hair. So I'm going to show you another one of these stamp sets that I just colored up. This is called Happy Camper, and it will be coming back in stock. We're ordering it right now, which is why I colored it up. But it's real easy to add, you know, like a ponytail or a bun, or like she could even have space buns, just longer hair, anything like that. It's really easy to add to all of these stamp sets. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to add to the stamp set. So are you guys ready? Can I get some thumbs up and some loves and some hearts? I'm going to try to zoom in here. Here we go. Without giving you too much of an earthquake. And so what I'm going to do is, Allison, would you like her to have a bun or a ponytail? That's what I need to know. A bun or a ponytail? I'm going to grab my Copic multi-liner. I've got a couple of sizes here. I have the 0.3 and the 0.03. So just the 0.3 is much larger than the 0.03. How about a bun today? Okay, let's do a bun. So I'm going to use, since we are doing a bun, I'm going to use the 0.3. So it's a much larger tip. Let me pull out the 0.03 too so you can see the difference. So this one's the 0.03, and see how much finer that tip is. So today we're going to give her a bun. Ooh, and I'm all of a sudden nervous. So I'm going to put a slightly larger bun on the back of her head. Thought about space buns for a half a second. And right now it looks just kind of like a halo. But when you color it like hair, definitely not. Okay, do that. And then I'm just going to add a couple little hairs coming out of her bun. Because we never have perfect buns, right? Okay. So it looks like a spider on top of her head at the moment. Hi, Sharon. But that's okay. We're going to fix it as soon as we color her hair. So what color hair would you guys like this sweet little girl to have? Needs to be something fairly dark. So she could have purple hair, she could have pink hair, she could have red hair, she could have brown hair, black hair, blue hair, dark brown hair. Okay. This is like the Allison show today. Whatever Allison requests, Allison gets. All right. So I have to pull out my old marker holder because all of the marker holders have sold. So I'm going to pay attention to how I'm coloring this because I want to kind of hide the fact that this has been drawn on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up from the back of her head. And I usually never do the hair first, so this is weird for me. And then I'm going to come down from the middle of her bun. And I think I actually want it to like puff out just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. From here. And then down from her bun, because that would cast a shadow, onto, hopefully I'm in the screen, orange. I would have done orange too. Okay, and you can already see that it's starting to like blend in now that I have some color on it. So that was my E29. So I'm gonna go, I will do an orange shirt. We're gonna go E27. What's the weather like where you're at today? It's rainy here in Idaho. It's usually not super rainy here, but it's been pretty rainy this whole day. I say this whole day. It is only 9 o'clock in the morning, but she needs polka dot pants. I was going to do ripped jeans, but I could do a polka dot shirt. Okay, I'm going to switch over to E55. I'm not taking the other cap off of this one because I know the level of where it's at. And this isn't even as dark as what I wanted it to be, so I'll probably just be going over it. It isn't dark enough. Hello, Auntie. You made it home. Wow, it was above 0? Go figure. Good for you. I'm having trouble pulling the trigger on what color I want to do. So since Sharon suggested orange, we're going to go into some red here. There we go. I like that. I know, right? I love that red tone. That's really cool. All right, so then I'm gonna go YR18, which is super orange. Whoa. Oh my gosh, my cap went running away. Okay, I got my cap back. This is like Scottish red hair, not Irish red hair. Okay. And now we gotta add just a little bit of fire to this hair. So I like to, let's try Y35. There we go. Check that out. So now she has a little bun, and see how easy that was to just add that little bun to her head. I mean, I can't draw. There's 0 drawing skills required. It was just a little oval onto the back of her head. Okay, so now let's color some skin. I think since she has red hair, we're gonna go pretty pale with the skin. So I'm gonna start with my E000. And since she's so tiny, I'm gonna just go ahead and color all of her skin. There we go. I'm gonna go RV95. Freckles, absolutely. Freckles will happen. That's a great idea. Okay, so I'm gonna go RV95. Oops, earthquake. Start over here on this arm. Shadow. Okay, I'm gonna move to this arm, shadow her fingers. Okay. It's all quiet in here again. Allison, you need to start singing some songs or something. I'm gonna go under her chin and leave a shadow from her head. Looks like I just decapitated the poor girl. Okay, we go from her hairline to her ear and color in the middle of her ear. I'm gonna do around her nose. Gonna do this ear over here, under her hairline. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get in a background today too. So this might be a little bit longer of a video, but I'm kind of in the coloring mood right now. No singing. Kind of in the coloring mood, and I'm sort of in the background mood. So even though I have stuff I need to do, sorry about the earthquake, I just, you know, I really, really feel like making that happen. And I want you guys to see that you can take any stamp and make it anything you want. So I'm going to go to E11. Look at how cute she is with a little bun on her head. Can you hear my stomach growling? I can, but that's because it's really quiet in here. My kid's at school, my husband's at work. It's very, very quiet. Archie's laying in the window. There's nothing for him to bark at right now because it's raining, so nobody's out walking their dogs or anything. Oh no, like full-on hand-colored background. Like real background. Oh man, I just went out of the lines like big time. Good thing I'm going to color a background around her. I forgot her nose. Oops, that one goes there. I know, poor Archie. He's got nobody to bark at. He's just sleeping. E21. Blend this out just a little bit more because I don't like seeing the line of where one marker ends and the next one begins. Okay. E00. I think you need this stamp set. Right, Holly? Holly, I need to text you about your order. Do you mind waiting a couple days? The black refill station you ordered, I don't have the marker holder part for. So I can either send you a different color or you can just wait a couple of days because the restocks will be here. Okay. E13, that's fine. You'll just wait a few days. I'm so sorry. Apparently our inventory was off. And I think the reason our inventory was off, in all honesty, is because I think somebody ripped one off, stole it from us at the expo. Look at those cute little freckles. That was E13. Aww. I know, people, yeah. There was a lady there trying to shoplift. And apparently she was successful on some things. Not just in our booth, but in other booths as well. So, there's that. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Well, I forgot holes for her ripped jeans. Okay, so I just start with my shadow color. I'm going to go around her knee. This one I'm going to go a little bit higher up just for funsies. I'm going to go to E11 and go around the outside. I can't say that without singing Eminem. Around the outside, around the outside. E21. And then E00. Which means now I need my denim blend, which is B99, B97, 95, 93, and 91. So I start with B99, and I'm going to leave a shadow around where her shirt meets her pants. And then where her thigh would leave a shadow on her calf. Same thing over here. I'm going to add a fly to her pants. So very easy, just 2 little lines. And then I'm going to add these little like crease lines. So right now it totally looks like she peed her pants. We're going to remedy that. We don't want it to look like she peed her pants, but we do want to give the material some movement. You guys laughing at me. Okay, so I'm gonna follow those shadows that I already drew in with my 9-7. I'm gonna come from the bottom, because that part would be in shadow. It's the furthest away from the light. I'm going to shadow on the bottom of those creases. And then add a little shadow to the back side of the fly. Right? She needs some Depends. Maybe she's just a mom. Maybe she's had several C-sections. Several pregnancies. And all of this jumping action has really gotten to her. You just don't know. You don't know the story. Okay, try to blend those in just a little bit. Yeah, trying to trampoline after children. You think you're going to have a jolly old time at one of those trampoline parks, and you're like, yeah, no. Kids ruin us, man. Just saying. I'm having a hard time staying in the lines today. I'm outside the lines everywhere. More reason to color a background, I guess. She's at the trampoline park with her Copic markers. No, I have a whole scene in mind. All right. So there's her jeans. Get these out of here. Everybody says they wouldn't wear jeans with holes in them, but all of my jeans have holes in them. have marker on my skin, so I'm trying to get that off. Okay, so Allison said an orange shirt, so we're going to go YR18. Well, hello, Miss Andy. YR15, YR14. I guess I'll just continue that, 12, but then I want to go to Y17. Ah! Why, thank you. So, I'm going to start by adding shadow and making you guys ill by rotating my paper 100 times. So where her waist cuts in, I'm going to put a shadow. Where she has love handles, I'm going to put a shadow. And under the boobs gets a shadow. Up here on her shoulder, and then again where her shirt comes in here, under her chest, she'll get a shadow, and then just down here. I'm also going to go ahead and color her shoes orange, because she matchy-matchy like that. Hello from Ohio. Hi, Vicky. Oh my gosh. Hi, Natalie. Yeah, see, I didn't grow up during that time, so yes. Thank you for joining us today, Vicky. Where are you from? I am in rainy Idaho. Oh, you said Ohio. Just dawned on me. Don't mind me, my coffee hasn't decided to work yet today. Okay, so we're just saturating that darker orange with the lighter orange. I don't mind that there's a color difference with these because I want that shadow to really be punched in there. So it's not a big deal to me that there is a color difference. Now, this third color is going to be the true color of our shirt. Near Cleveland, awesome. I know, I'm doing orange without you. Rude, huh? And I'm going to use some soft brush strokes to get these colors to come together. This is my true color of my shirt, so I'm going to be a little bit more liberal with this color, meaning I'm just going to use more of it. Fill that in. Okay, YR12 is considerably lighter. It's like a peachy color. I'm doing like a softer orange, Tyler. And then my last marker is going to be Y17. You can youtube.com/sweet sentiment now. I believe will work. How cool is that? Look at that orange shirt. Oh, and I forgot her shoe. There we go. Okay. Now, of course, we love our new sweeties. Now, I'm going to grab E34 because this is my favorite color to color tongues with. I know, that sounds odd, but it is what it is. So I colored her tongue, not E, RV34, sorry. Thank you, Vicky, for subscribing. After these videos are done, we put them all on YouTube. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to color her Copic markers. So I like to use W1 because if I look at this marker, it looks like a warm gray to me. So I like to use W1. And I'm just going to come in here where the markers overlap one another. And around her fingers and around one end. Because we all know why, right? And this one I'm going to do this end. Because the brush nib has a gray line and the chisel nib does not. So it's gray on one end. No, Vicky, this is our special Sweet Sentiment coloring paper. And yes, it does have glitter in it. But this is paper we made specifically for coloring. And I can tell you all the details of it if you would like. I'm a paper geek, so I can talk about paper for a long time. So if you would like the details, I'm more than happy to talk about them. If you're not interested, I don't want to bore you to death. Yes, please. Okay. So Sweet Sentiment coloring paper is 89 pound. So it's a cardstock, not a cover stock, which means it'll go through your printer, which is always amazing, especially if you like to color digis and stuff like that. I'm going to choose colors to color the caps of her markers. So there's that. It's meant for marker coloring in that it is coated on the inside. So the outer layers of the paper are not coated, but the inner layers of the paper are. So you can come back to your coloring and rehydrate and continue on coloring, which is unique to other papers. So other papers, you are coated on the outside. So what happens is, I have only perfect paper coloring me to print. I don't know what you mean, Natalie. Hi, Cheryl. So other papers are coated on the outside, meaning whatever you Copic color on them or alcohol marker color on them will actually sit on the surface of the paper. And once the alcohol from the marker dissipates, then you're looking at a mess. The reason you're looking at a mess is because all you're left with is pigment on the surface of the paper. And so that becomes very sticky. And so that eventually will ruin your nibs. It ruins your coloring. You get white spots and funky stickiness and all kinds of stuff going on. So I created this paper to alleviate that problem. So what happens is you're actually, the ink is penetrating that first layer of the paper. And thank you, Natalie. The ink is penetrating the first layer of the paper, and you are staining the actual paper fibers. So that makes a very different, yeah, absolutely. That makes a very different surface to color on. It's also slightly off-white. If you notice, this is true white and this is slightly off-white. It does that so that your coloring pops. It's also got the glitter in it. Again, the glitter is within the paper fibers, so that also makes your coloring pop. It's hard to color and think at the same time, not gonna lie. But your paper should bleed through. So I wish that somebody had told me this when I first started Copic coloring. If you can't tell what you're coloring by looking at the back of your paper, then you're doing it wrong. You have to be able to do that. But you notice I'm coloring in one layer. And that is one of the biggest things is I'm coloring in a single layer. I'm not going back over this and doing a second layer and wasting ink and all of that stuff. So I've cut your color time down, being able to color in a single layer. And I've cut your ink usage down, being able to color in a single layer. And look at how vibrant these colors are. I mean, look at how crazy vibrant all these colors are in single layer coloring. So, yes, very cool. Okay, guys, so yes, I added the bun to it. Yep. We wanted to be able to take this girl. See if I can get her on the camera. We wanted to take this girl and make her different. So Allison chose bun, and so I put a bun on her hair. So it looks like she has much longer hair. You could do a ponytail or anything like that, but I really like the choice of the bun. I think it turned out really cute. So now we're going to get busy. We're going to color a background. Okay, so I'm actually going to zoom out just a little bit. That's in, not out. There we go. So you can see my whole card. Thank you, Allison, for posting the link. Yeah, this is Sandy's favorite stamp set. This is also the stamp set that has our logo in it. So this is our logo, and there's the stamps for it. So we're going to draw a background. So first of all, I like to take my E41 and kind of sketch in what it is I'm going to do. So I am actually going to grab a ruler for this part because I tend to get nervous. I don't know why, but I've done a million backgrounds. But I tend to get a little bit nervous when I'm drawing like the floor and all of that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this card front up with the paper, with the grid on my paper. I'm going to choose one of the lines that kind of goes through her, and I'm going to draw a line. Okay, so this is going to be the corner of the room. The floor is lava. Yes. I have this idea in my head, and it has to come out of my brain. So in this side, I'm not going to worry now about being straight. I actually want the floor to be in perspective. So I'm going to draw a line this way. Oh my gosh, Sandy, Archie's snoring now. Just because Jack was snoring last night. I'm going to line it up this way and bring it down to the corner. Now the reason I use E41 for this is because it is so light that I can color over it with virtually any color. She's coloring on a pole. She's that kind of girl, Tyler. Okay, so then I want to add windows to the window, to the wall. So I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm going to put it on the floor line, and then I'm just going to slide that ruler up. So I go like that, and I slide it up. So now I can put a window in here. I'm going to do the same thing. Put it on this one and slide it up. Oops, I moved it. Okay, let me do my vertical line first. This is why I like to start with like a ruler or something, because it helps me to not be afraid of what I'm doing. And I'm just moving the paper over slightly. There we go. She's got a big picture window here. But this way I can stay in perspective. Right? I love doing backgrounds. Only have your original Sweet Sentiment coloring paper. No twinkles. It should still have sparkle in it. You mean the paper that I sold before I made my own paper? And then I'm going to put, do I want to put a window over here? I was going to put another window over here, but I think instead I'll put a bookshelf over here. So she's going to have a big old bookshelf here. Like a floor to ceiling, I read all the things bookshelf. And so again, I'm going to turn it this way so it's easier for me. I'm just going to take this, line it up, and I'm going to put the shelves of the bookshelf. Okay, so now that I've started with the ruler, I definitely have like the basis, and it's not quite so intimidating to me now. So that's why I like to start that way. When we were expressive snobs before we knew better, yes. You saw me on Facebook? Well, that's awesome. I'm super excited about that. I'm super glad you're here. Okay. So we're going to do, I'm going to start with doing her wall. And I think I'm going to do like a soft green color because, I don't know, it just seems like it contrasts well with what she's wearing. So I'm going to start with my G40. And I am going to use my chisel nib for this. I know that people don't use their chisel nibs a lot. And I'm here to break that cycle. So I'm going to start by using the chisel nib for this. And we're just going to color in this wall. When you're coloring backgrounds, this is going to sound really weird, but it's all about vague details. And what I mean by that is that you still want your character to be the star of the show, but you want to have enough detail in the back to make it believable. So, thus the vague details. That's crazy. Good job, Sharon. Way to buy in bulk. Okay. Sorry I got all quiet. I was like concentrating. Okay. So here's her wall. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade this in. So I want this to be, to look like it's supposed to be shaded. So this is G40 that I just used right here, but I'm going to pop down here and use G82 and G43. G82 and G43. So, oops, sorry, I hit the camera again. My bad. I always do that. So with the G82, I'm going to come in from this wall and I'm going to follow the perspective line. I don't know why this makes a difference, but it totally does. So just follow that perspective line. And I'm going to go along the floor. I can't decide yet if she's going to have hardwood floor or carpet. But apparently she doesn't have baseboards, so she's renting an apartment. They spent all of their money on the built-in bookshelf and didn't spend any money on baseboards. Okay, I'm gonna go up this line. So this is the corner, and that's why I'm spending so much time making it darker and worrying about where these lines are going. Okay. I also want to come in a little bit from here just to make it a vignette, kind of, so it's got a little perspective here. Okay. Now my G43. Yep, that is a bun. Your coffee's working. So I'm going to blend this out. Trying not to get a bunch of green on her, but I'm having a hard time staying in the lines today. I'm going to put a shadow under the window. And usually I try to make these videos not so long. They're usually within an hour or under an hour. But today I felt like a background, so we're going to have a longer video. So my apologies in advance. I understand if you have to go to work and leave me hanging. No, I'm just kidding. But I was in the coloring mood and I really wanted to do a background today. So this is where we're at. We're doing a background today. Okay. Yeah. Bonus Jamie time. I know, then I'll really be in need of coffee after this. And then I'm going to go back to the G40 and I'm just going to blend this out. Okay, come down here under the window. Wait till you see the back of the paper when I'm done with this background. I do use my chisel end, Rebecca. I use it a lot, especially in open spaces like this. Definitely use my chisel nib a lot. I think I use my chisel nib more than I've seen any other colorist. All right. So, now, I feel like I washed that out too much, so I'm going to go back to my G43. Add some brush strokes back to it. Now you can really see the glitter in the paper. Do you see all that mica shining through? I love it. My paper is also built the same forwards as it is backwards, so there's no right or wrong side. Can we get it? Amen. Hints for getting out of a creative slump. Yes. My biggest hint is florals. I could give you a really big hint until you do the artist trading card swap that we have. I think today's the last day to sign up. Whenever I'm in a creative slump, I color a flower. I go to some sort of crazy flower and color it. That's always my go-to. And the reason is because you don't have to do anything else to a flower. You can pick 5 colors, 5 markers as a color blend and just go with it. And so there's not a whole lot of thought that happens. And then you can space out just coloring the flowers. So definitely my go-to. Okay, so I'm going to do this section of the wall green as well. So I'm going to go back to my G82. And again, I'm going to color this direction. I'm going to follow that perspective line. And notice after I drew the straight lines, I didn't go back to my ruler because it doesn't matter to me if they're straight at this point. I just needed the guide. Anyways, we have an ATC swap going on, and the theme happens to be florals. And ATCs are artist trading cards, and you sign up, you make 9 cards, and the 9 cards are 2.5 by 3.5. So little tiny cards. They're like the size of business cards-ish. And you make those cards and you send them to Sandy with a self-addressed envelope and $3 for return postage. And then she will send you 9 cards back from other artists. That's funny. So it's really fun, and it's a great way to get out of a slump. You can make all 9 cards the same, or you can make them different. But it's a fun way to get out of a slump because you're doing something that is guided, but not like mandatory. So the theme of florals is obviously super broad. So you could do anything that has anything to do with flowers or gardening or whatever. So I suggest those kind of things. That's always my personal go-to. If that's not your thing, then the next thing I suggest is swatching. We have swatches on our website that you can purchase, but I always get inspired when I'm swatching things. So I will go grab some swatch cards from somewhere, usually our own, or I'm making new ones. And I'll just start swatching, and then sooner or later I'll be like, oh, this color reminds me of, and then I'll start, wanting to color whatever that item is. So hopefully that helps. I have to use the chisel nib on this. Otherwise, it'll take me a year. Oh my God, Archie's totally snoring, you guys. And he usually doesn't do that. He must have got it from Jack. I blame Jack. Much faster coverage that way. Okay. And then I'm going to go back and do a second coat of this G43 like I did before. Just a quick coat to marry those colors together. This is one of the only times I will do a second coat. Because when you have a big open space like this, I just feel like it needs more coverage. Tyler. I mean, you could, but they probably wouldn't appreciate you snoring at your desk. I'm just saying. Are you back at work, or do you work from home? All right. So now we have this definite corner of the room, which I'm going to go ahead and kind of draw a vertical line here to really set it apart. Okay, so we have this very definite corner of the room. And we have a bookshelf that we have to color. And we have a window that we have to color. And we have a floor that we have to color. So do you guys want a tile floor, a wood floor, or a carpet? Tile floor, wood floor, or carpet? I know this looks super rough right now. I promise it's not going to look this rough when we're in the middle of this. Wood, 1 vote for wood, 1 vote for tile. I'm going to go with wood floor since that was the first one that came in. Although now there's 2 votes for tile, so wood floor came in first, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my ruler with the edge of the flooring, and I'm going to draw that line. Okay, so now I have, Tyler says carpet, just to be different. So now I have like my shadow line, my start line. Okay, and be nice to your Copic nib when you're using a ruler, just saying. So it's probably going to be easier this way so I can see how wide my plank is going to be. But I'm going to use this to make my planks. And 1 more. And yes, they aren't all going to be the exact same. Oh my goodness, this ruler. Because I'm lining them up with the perspective line and not the paper. Okay. Then I'm going to come in here, and with this perspective line, I'm going to add, gotta make sure I'm adding them right. It's so different than what you think it's going to be. Let me tell you. Such an optical illusion. Okay, and I feel like I want 1 more on that top. 1. Okay, so now I've added some planks into my wood floor. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm just going to add a little bit of texture. I'm just going to draw lines, squiggly lines. Really lightly. Okay. This is like a really soft, like barnwood floor. Oh, good, Vicky. I'm super glad you're enjoying it. I know, right? There was no math happening. Don't worry, no math. Okay, then I'm going to come in from the edge. And I'm going to come in from all of those lines. And I'm going to make these planks darker around the outside. Around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. Well, hi, Archie. How was your nap, buddy? Archie woke up and looks like he needs a cup of coffee. For those of you who don't know, who are new here, Archie is my dog, obviously. And he is a service dog. I have been diagnosed with severe panic disorder since I was like 5 years old. And so he senses my panic attacks and helps me with that. So he loves it when I hang out in my craft room and color because he gets a rest. But he is with me all the time. Okay. Nice soft pine wood floor. There we go. Okay. I think that our bookshelf is going to be a little bit darker and our windowsill is going to be a little bit darker. But what I really want to do now that I have this in is I want to add some texture to the wall. So I like to add a little bit of something. So I think I'm going to pull out white and I'm going to make little flowers. So just randomly a little dot and then curves around them. They could be little galaxies or they could be little roses. Again, you want the details, but you want them to be vague. So if I was drawing like some super epic flowers around here, it would pull the attention away from the girl. And my other excuse is I can't draw. So there's that too. Oh yeah, Vicky, that would definitely be a cause for panic attacks. For sure. So I have severe panic disorder, and so anybody who's ever seen one of my panic attacks is probably traumatized because they look kind of like a seizure. Sandy can attest to that. She's seen many of them. They look like a seizure, and a lot of the times I can't speak, and my heart rate skyrockets and my muscles lock up, and it is not fun. I do not recommend. 0 stars. So, yeah. You are in a safe place here, my friend. We are all very encouraging and we are very open and we are very non-judgmental in this group because we're all fighting battles. So, welcome to the family. Check out that wallpaper. Hugs right back at you, Vicky. I feel it was divine intervention. You were brought here today for some reason, and I'm glad you were. Okay, I'm going to keep on making these little... So this gel pen that I'm using is the Pear Blossom Press gel pen. And I swear by this gel pen. We will be getting them in stock. This is by far the best white gel pen I have ever used. And I'm kind of a gel pen connoisseur. So I have many gel pens that I have attempted to use or tried to use, or paint pens, or yeah, all kinds of stuff. And this one is by far the best one. It is the bomb. It is thebomb.com. I'm also, since I have the gel pen in my hand, going to go ahead and add the strings to her pants. I usually wait to the end to do all of this stuff, but it's in my hand right now, so this is what really sells the ripped jeans. There we go. Okay. Hi, Jamie. You once told me how to get them working once they get teared up, but I can't remember. There's two ways. First of all, this is a little ball right here. And so you can lightly drop it on your desk a couple of times to push that ball back up in there. The other thing is you have oils on your hands. So if you just draw on your hand a little bit, the oil will then lubricate that ball and make it start working again. I love ripped jeans, yes. Yes, Sharon, you do know how hard it is for me some days. I try really hard. I really do. And some days is definitely harder than others. And some days are a lot easier than others. So it's just, I'm glad that it's my cross to bear and not somebody else's, because it was given to me and not somebody who couldn't handle it. So I'm just glad that that it's me and not somebody who couldn't handle it. So I'm going to draw on this windowsill, and I'm going to draw the darker lines outwards because the light coming through the window would cause, oops, I'm not even on the screen. The light coming through the window would be light on the windowsill. So I'm going to draw the darker lines on the outer edges. Of course. Absolutely. Hopefully that's straight. Great. Now I'm going to second guess myself. Yeah, my window's super not straight. Hold please while I fix my window. There we go. Again, it's just markers. It's not the end of the world. Don't worry, you won't even notice that when we're done. Okay, so that was E25, so I'm going to go to E23. And I'm just going to start shading this in. Rotate my paper so that my wrist is always at a comfortable position. Everybody still with me? Have I bored you to tears yet? Then I'm going to go to my E55 because it's already out and I like to reuse markers. And notice I use the ruler to make this straight to begin with, and then I'm just freehanding the rest of it. Because again, I want the details to be there, but I don't need them to be perfect. But yes, Sharon, we have a lot of traveling coming up, and you know how it is traveling with anxiety. So that's always a fun endeavor, but I have my Sandy Ledoux with me, and she sure helps me a lot when I can't take Archie. Well, there you go. I always say if you can't, like if you're not good at light source or you're not good at drawing or whatever, just be good at storytelling, because that definitely is a thing. So she lives in a very old house, and she has no baseboards, and her windows aren't straight, but she has this really cool built-in shelf that's going to have lots of cool things on it. So there's that. Okay, so what I also want to do now that I have this E23 out is I want to leave a little bit of shadow underneath her because she is not a ghost. And so I want a shadow underneath her that shows that she's jumping. And then I'll go back to my 5-3. Thank you. I'm so glad that you enjoy them, Cheryl. And just kind of blend this out. Well, you know, Sweet Sentiment started as coloring. I know, I could make it her new craft room. She's all excited. There's going to be a couple more surprises that happen in here, so don't you worry. Yes, right? She's my designated emotional support person. It's super true. Very, very true. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, because she's not going to have like nothing here, so, you know, there'll be more. I'm going to put some things on the shelf. So first of all, I'm going to go back to my E25, which is my darker color. I'm going to grab my ruler again, and I'm going to go along this line and leave the bottom shelf here. Ooh, the rain's picking up again. Okay, so there's my bottom shelf. Here's my next shelf. And my next one. And the following one. And the tertiary shelf. And the subsequent shelf after that. Don't mind me. Okay, so here's my bookshelf, nice and dark. We're going to fix it. Don't worry. I'm going to start leaving my shelf lines in here so I know where to go. Okay. Now I'm going to start putting some things on the shelves. Vicki, I am in Idaho. So all of the colors that I've already used, I like to like recycle colors and reuse colors. So I'm going to start by making like a pile of books. So this BG49 was what I used for one of the Copic markers. So I'm going to go ahead and use that and start to draw just a book in a random place. The hardest part is to just get started. So just start. The worst thing that can happen is that this is markers and ink. And the very, very worst thing that can happen is that you fussy cut her out and put her on something else. Okay, so here's my little book sitting on my little shelf. I'm going to grab BG45. Been there, done that. Haven't we all? Okay, and then I have this E51. I'm going to use that for the book pages. Okay, so I have my first little book on the bookshelf. So now I can go in and kind of start filling things in. Yeah, you could totally turn this into a big black refrigerator. I mean, there's that. Or this can be a smaller card. So there's lots of different things you can do. Definitely and for sure. So I'm going to use RV34. This is the color I used for her tongue. And I'm going to do a book that's laying down. Because why not? Right? This is her book of crafty things to attempt. Crafty things I want to color. And then again, angles are math. Yeah, but I'm not calculating them. I'm just drawing them. So, okay, so there's that. And then this is one of the things I really love to do on these little bookshelves. I absolutely despise terracotta, like more than I can explain to anybody the amount of anything. I despise terracotta, but I love drawing little terracotta planters and little plants in them. So we're going to draw a little planter. And she's got a little house plant here. Kind of looks like a very large pill bottle. Told y'all I can't draw. Nobody ever believes me. Mary, that's why I always, yay, Karen. That's why I always start with a ruler, because it really, once you get used to it, it becomes so much easier. But yes, practice, practice, practice for sure. But once you get used to the whole perspective drawing scenario, it becomes a lot easier. So, and I'm not really perspective drawing at this point with the little terracotta pot. I'm just going for it. Put some dirt in the pot. Okay, now I'm gonna draw like a little house plant coming out of that. Once I draw some other things, because I want the leaves to come over the front of things. So, but what I am gonna do is I'm gonna go back to this E27 and I'm gonna finish off this shelf. I must have used E25 for that because this is much darker, but that's all right. Line it up on your grid paper. Grab a grid line. Ooh, shoot. Okay. So now, I messed that one up. Don't mind me. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to color the corners of this to make it look darker. Like it's shadowy back there. Then I'm going to use my progression of markers. I try to make art easy, but I'm not so artsy. But you could go all day on this and just add things to the shelves and, you know, all these little details and stuff. You can definitely go wild. But this little scene has been in my brain for quite some time. And so it was begging to get out. And E53. But again, see how well this paper holds the ink? And I'm one coat coloring. I'm not, you know, having to go back in here and redo all of this. Imagine if you had to color all of this twice. And look, I just made that little shelf look like a box. So it's got perspective. It's back in there. And that one shelf has perspective as opposed to the rest of it. I know, right? I would too. I would definitely have a dead plant in real life. That's for sure. Absolutely for sure. So I don't want to continually bore you with all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of little things and then I'll go back in and finish the shelves for any of those who want to hang out. But I wanted to show you a couple of more little scenarios here. So I'm going to add, like, she's jumping up and down because she's super happy because she just got a box. She got a little box in the mail and the box had all of her Copic markers in it. So we're going to draw a little box here. And I'm just going to start with one straight line so that I can go from there. And I'm using darker colors because I want to be able to hide all of the color behind it. So my box is a little wonky. That's fine. It went through the postal system. You guys know what happens to all of that. And then I'm going to make my perspective go back this way because that's the way my shelves go. I'm going to make a little flap on my box because she opened it up and she dug out all of her Copic markers and she's super duper excited about that. So she's jumping for joy. This is what Sandy and I look like when we open a box full of markers. Okay, so now I have this little box sitting here. Ooh, I could put doors on some of the shelves. That would be really cute, except for I already drew shelves in there. So this is our little box here. And I'm going to draw some shadows around the corners. Because again, it got beat up. Here's the other two flaps of the box. So that was my E44. Now I'm gonna grab 43. I might have to make this box a little bit darker. I should be fine. Okay. And then I'm going to grab E42. Lighten up the center of the box. Okay. Then I'm going to put like a little label on the box. So I'm going to make sure that I'm not happy with the shape of this. So hold on just a second. It just looks too wonky for me. It's the wonky donkey. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to go like this. Let that paper dry. And then my white gel pen, I'm going to put a label right here on the side of the box. She just got her order from Sweet Sentiment, and she's super happy because it was filled with Copic markers that she ordered. And there was super fast shipping. Great customer service. She got to watch the lives twice a day. And so while I wait for the white gel pen, we're going to draw a little scene outside of the window here. So again, details. I love that book too, The Wonky Donkey. I bought it for Sandy's grandson, Cooper. And that is why on the Smart Ass stamp set, there is a sentiment that says, hee-haw, because her little grandson, Cooper, says, hee-haw. Okay. Then out here, I think I want to put like some tree branches and a tree. So again, I'm going to like recycle some of my markers here. And since I just colored that, I want it to dry a little bit. So I'm trying to help dissipate the alcohol quicker because see how wet that is. And if I touch this to the wet, it'll bleed. So I'm going to wait just a second. I didn't realize how much ink I put down on that. So I'll come back here and color another shelf. So maybe this shelf down here is empty. Maybe she's just moving in. There's all kinds of stories that you could have with this. Like I said, if you're not good at something, just create a story for it. That is B quadruple 0. It's a very, very light blue. And I just use it as the base so that there's like sky involved before I do like my trees or anything like that. Because if you try to color around all of your leaves and everything, it becomes kind of a nightmare. Is that what you use with black? For the black hair? Is that what you're talking about? Not really sure what you're talking about, Karen. When I color black hair, are you asking if that's the blue I used for the base? Oh, okay. No, I used B41 because it's like a smoky blue color. So I tend to use B41. I mean, you could use that. It just wouldn't show quite as much. There we go. There's another shelf done. Now this is dry enough that I can draw in my tree. So I'm not going to draw the trunk because I don't think that we would be seeing the trunk outside of the window. I mean, I suppose we could, but I'm going to draw in some branches. So I'm just going to come from the side, and here's a little tree branch. And I'm using my E44 for this. Okay, so there's my little tree branch coming in from the side. And then I'm going to grab a couple of greens, just really randomly. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time thinking about what greens I'm going to use. So YG63 is one of the first ones I grabbed. And I'm just going to use my marker as like a stamp. And I'm just going to stamp some leaves on here. This is the same technique Sandy was using last night for the bushes at the zoo. So the biggest thing is I'm just setting my marker on the paper. I'm not pushing on it because I don't want to break down my nib. And I'm just turning the paper in all different directions. And I'm just letting that marker sit on the paper for a second. I'm not pushing on it, okay? So there's that. And then I'm going to grab a couple of like lighter markers. I have this 6-1. Same thing, I'm just going to stamp. And then I want to add something a little bit brighter. So YG25. Oh my gosh, you guys want so much detail. bird feeders in the tree and cabinet doors. Y'all think I'm like a real artist or something. Hummingbirds eating out of the bird feeder, squirrel nest. All right, so there's our tree in the window. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add like a little bush over here in the corner. So I'm going to start with a super light color, which will probably be this G43. And I'm just going to add this funky shape. And I'm going to scribble inside of it. And then I'm going to use the same colors I used in the tree. Hey, Leah. Thank you. I'm going to make some little protruding bits here. So it looks a little bit more like a bush. I'm going to add, I keep on grabbing the wrong end of these. Oh my gosh, I did it again. Protuberances, something like that. Okay, so there's that. So now that this has dried, I'm gonna grab my multi-liner again, and I'm gonna grab this 0.03, and I'm just gonna scribble an address. So it looks like a little box was mailed to her. Okay. So she's jumping for joy. She's got some hops because she can jump pretty high. And then we're going to finish off these shelves real quick. So I'm going to grab my 27. And don't worry, I'm not going to forget to add the little house plant. Of course, in my house, I'm not going to lie, that little thing's probably totally dead. It would probably just be an empty pot like that. There's probably a little shadow around this book. That's you when your Copics come in. Did you get your last shipment? I gotta remember what I'm doing here because I know that line is wrong. I sure did. You need to water your houseplants. I probably need to water mine. I have 2 that are surviving. 2 that haven't committed planticide yet. It's only a matter of time. But I'm trying. See? Just add a little extra ink and you can get rid of that blemish there. Oh, I even skipped a color. How about that? Thanks, Holly. I just love doing backgrounds. It's something that I can just get lost in. And I could sit here and color these, you know, this stuff all day and just get lost in the little story that I'm telling with this. I mean, look at how much information we came up with about this girl. That she just got her Copic shipment in, and she's super happy, and she lives in an old house because it has wonky windows, and she's just moving in, and that's why her shelves are empty. Like, we have so many different little pieces of information about this girl. So now my little houseplant here, I'm going to make like a weeping little houseplant. Maybe like a spider plant. Anybody else have spider plants growing up? My mom always had spider plants, and they were so cool. She always had spider plants and philodendrons. So there's my little house plant. Yep, you did, Vicky. Look at that. You were meant to be here. Vicky is my people. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so what can I put on this shelf? Maybe I could put... Does anybody have any ideas? I don't know what to put on that shelf. Maybe like a vase? Oh, you could turn the Copics into diplomas. Yep. Mickey's think alike. Yep. Thanks, Melissa. A Copic marker holder. Good Lord, Tyler. A trophy. Oh, that's a good idea too. A picture frame, a photo frame, a vase. Okay. All right, we're going to do a vase and a picture frame. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to grab, how about purple? How about a purple vase? Everyone had one in one of those bathrooms, one of those macrame hanging holders. Yes, that's right. Oh, a candle. That's a really good idea too. Okay, so I'm going to draw a little vase over here. It's just going to be like a little bud vase. It's not going to have a flower in it because, remember, she's moving, so it's not that kind of vase. It's like handmade pottery because it's super wonky. It's fine. Again, it's a family heirloom. She's moving into her old aunt's house. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know that ours was in like a little macrame thing, but I totally know what you're talking about, Sharon, and it makes complete sense. The spider plant hanging in the little macrame holder. I think Mom's just had like a plastic hook that was holding it. Oh my gosh, that is such a wonky vase. I am so sorry. We're going to try to fix it some. Again, if you're no good at drawing, just be good at storytelling. Because now this looks more like a scientific flask. I could draw like graduations on the side of it. Who are you calling old? A bubble vase. Yeah, right. Her son, her child made this vase in the art class at school. So we're going to write mom on it. There. Now it says mom. Good call, Tyler. Good call. Absolutely good call on that one. Okay, so there's the vase. And then we're going to do a little picture frame. And I want to do that with black. Great call, Tyler. Her kid made this picture frame too in wood shop. Definitely. Definitely. I'm glad you guys are all with me on this. Okay. And on top, 3 candles of different sizes. Okay, what color candles? Are we going pink? Do we want pink candles? Or orange? She had to put the candles up on the top shelf. Yellow candles. Okay. Yellow candles it'll be. Ocean scene for the frame. Ooh, that could be a good one. Okay, so yellow candle number 1. These are big candles. These are like 3-wick candles. I keep on forgetting. So I like to hug my paper when I color, and that obviously doesn't work on a live because I have to be in the camera frame. This girl went to like Yankee Candle Company because she's moving into this house and it's an old house. So it's got some funky smell to it. And she bought their lemon candles, their lemon scented candles. To make the funky house smell go away. Now don't worry, I'm going to fix these. Ish. I'm going to fix them ish. Oh, thanks, Vicky. Did you go check out some of the digis? I love the coffee cup ones. I think those are my favorite. So coloring backgrounds is super relaxing for me. So I'm glad you guys have stuck it out with me for this like marathon coloring session here. I do really appreciate it. Yeah, the coffee cup ones are adorable. I love them. I normally, like I said, don't spend 2 hours on a live during the day, but sometimes you just gotta. So again, I'm gonna go grab my 0.03. That one. And I'm gonna add the little wicks to these. So that one's a 3-wick candle. I guess they all should be 3-wick candles. There we go. Just gonna light that shelf on fire, baby. Okay, so let's finish filling in the shelves and then we can finish the picture and then we should be good to go. Okay, so line it up. Line this one up. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm gonna add my shadow to my corners. And to the underside of this shelf. Gonna add a little shadow on the opposite side of the picture frame and of our vase here. Same thing over here, add some shadow to the corner, to the bottom of the shelf. And then to the corners of these candles. Just like that. Oh my gosh, you guys should see the amount of markers that I have on my desk right now. It literally looks like I took my marker tub and just dumped it out. Taking my cap off because my marker's getting super juicy. Should be coloring with both caps off anyways, but you know, sometimes you get lazy. And that's usually when a blob happens. All right, so you guys have now seen how the Sweet Sentiment coloring paper takes a ton of ink and keeps on coloring. So if that isn't testament enough you guys have seen the single coat coloring and how bright all of this comes out, even with a single coat. So that's super cool. You guys have seen that I cannot draw, so that's really cool. It's always funny when I tell people, you should always color with both caps off. There's a whole nerdscape about that too that I can explain. But basically, there's a core inside your Copic marker that is cotton that is wrapped in plastic, and so a certain amount of pressure will build up within your core when you put ink in your marker. That's just the way of the world. It has nothing to do with like accelerants or anything like that. It's just physics. So, with that being said, when you go to color, all of the ink, you take one cap off, right? And all of the ink will always go to the point of least resistance. So it will come rushing out that one end. So if you take both caps off, then what happens is it equalizes the pressure within the barrel of your marker, and it makes so you have more control over your ink flow, and it makes it so the ink doesn't go rushing all towards one end. The other part of that scenario is that your hand, I fake it, is that your hand is warm, and the molecules in the ink, when they're just sitting there, they're going like this. And the warmer it gets, the faster they move. And so when those ink molecules start moving really fast, they need somewhere to go. And they will always go to the point of least resistance, meaning they're going to come rushing out that brush nib if that's the only cap you have off. So, like I said, super nerdy, super geeky, but that's okay. You always want to take both caps off while coloring, because that is what will prevent those big blobs on your coloring. Additionally, on top of that, if you know that your marker is almost empty and you want to force ink out of it, then you can put that other cap back on, and it will force the ink to the point of least resistance. So how's that for a super long answer that you probably did not want? You're welcome. You'll see my geeky side come out with stuff like that. So most people teach coloring from a point of view of art and articism. Like Sandy is an artist. She's a true artist. I am not. I used to sit outside the art room and cry. I didn't even want to go in. It was icky. It was dirty. It was dusty. I did not like it. I did not want to be any part of it. So art was never my thing. I didn't want to wear a smock. I didn't like any of that stuff. Like, no, thank you. So I come at art from a very different perspective than most people. And I taught myself how to make a two-dimensional object look three-dimensional by way of using a medium. So I definitely have a very different viewpoint and a very different stance on art and how to make it. And that makes for interesting coloring classes. And so you will see that Sandy and I teach very very differently, but we come up with very similar results. And that's why she is the cheese to my macaroni. Right, Sandy? She's very artistic, And I have a very pragmatic mind. It's very linear thinking. And I was introduced to Copic Markers by my cousin Lena. And she was like, dude, you got to try this. And Lena's also very artistic and crafty. I'm super not crafty. I'm one of the least crafty people you will ever meet. And so she told me to try these markers, and I tried them, and I fell in love because they were super clean, and I could figure out how to make a two-dimensional object look three-dimensional. And that is what spoke to me and to my brain. So, and I will show you, I have a marker right here that's broken. It cracked. And so this is what the core looks like. And you see the indentation in it. That is what your nib does. I can't even get this nib out. It's too dry. But your nib pokes into there, and then it wicks the ink through. And so it wicks the ink out of the core. So if you overfill the core, it creates too much pressure, and the ink has nowhere to go. A rainbow in the picture frame. We can do a rainbow in the picture frame. I'm down for that. You guys know me and my rainbows. Red. Orange. Ooh, earthquake. Yellow. Green. Teal. Purple. Yay! So there you have it, guys. There is a massive amount of markers. This is like half of them that is on my desk. So those will all be listed in the YouTube video. Here is our finished project. Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad that I taught you something, Vicki. Here's our finished project. And I hope you guys really enjoyed today's super duper long class. That was a 2-hour coloring marathon. But I had so much fun coloring with you guys. So I will probably end up sticking this on a card of some sort. And I will put a sentiment up here. And I've left this blank because I'm probably just going to cut this down some. And anyways, that was so awesome to watch. Big card. It was very cool. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the white space I'm probably going to cut off because I'm going to trim it down in order to make a card. So I like to matte my cards. So yeah. But thank you for noticing that, Holly. I could turn that top shelf into wallpaper too, but it's just going to be trimmed down. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. We do these lives every day, every weekday. So I am 10 a.m. Central Time and Sandy is 10 p.m. Central Time. And we usually try to keep them to an hour, but we went long because we were doing backgrounds. So there's that. Excuse me, I need more coffee. So that's what we have for you today. So I will see you tomorrow. The tutorial has tipped the scales. I think for my birthday, I want to start the leap. Thank you so much for sharing your talents. Oh, Meg, That makes my heart so happy. We have Copic markers in our store, and feel free to contact either Sandy and I, and we can help you decide which colors you want to buy and hook you up with color blends and that sort of stuff. Our Copic markers and refill are always $5.99, so they do not change in price. They're $5.99, which is way cheaper than most anywhere else you will find them. So anyways, thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow, and Sandy will hopefully see you tonight, right back here at 10 p.m. Central Time. So if you're on the East Coast, that is 11, Central is 10, Mountain is 9, and Pacific is 8. And we do it the same time, morning and night, so that everybody, you know, nobody's confused. And if you want to set an alarm on your phone, or set a calendar alarm, then that obviously helps you to remember. So 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. And I will see you guys all on Sandy's live tonight or on my live tomorrow. Toodles!